Hey everyone, welcome back to Green Bay Football Corporation. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about, the week 3 matchup with the New Orleans Saints and the Packers home opener. But before we get into that, I was a little bit under the weather this past week, so I didn't get to really deep dive into week 2 and that, kind of gut-wrenching loss to the Falcons. We all understand it's, a young team. We're going to have some of these ebbs and flows and we're going to learn hopefully from some of these experiences. But really what it came down to me was it was a complete lack of complementary football. And, you look at simply time of possession 36 minutes to 23 minutes from the Falcons versus the Packers. That is a lot of time that our defense spent on the field. And when you look at it, like 27 first downs to just 17 for the Packers, 78 plays versus 47 for the Packers. A lot of defense heavy out there that when the fourth quarter came around and, while we had a 12-point lead heading into the fourth quarter, that is the reason that we find ourselves kind of squandering that lead and losing it. Not to mention the fact that the offense couldn't get the ball moving in the fourth. But overall, what really ties into that is on 7 out of our 9 drives, not including one that we had just a kneel down before the half, we had 6 or less plays on the Packers offense. For the Falcons, 2 out of their 9 drives had fewer than 8 plays. All of them had 8 or more, with the exception of 2, which one of them was the second drive where we had the interception from, actually that might have been the first drive, that we had the interception by Rasul Douglas off of Desmond Ridder, and then another one in that first half. But that was it for short drives for the Falcons. Granted, yes, they're a predominantly run-heavy team, so if they can continue to build up first downs, they're going to have longer drives. But that's where you need to make some, impact plays on that side and, kind of get yourself off the field on defense. But also what that means for us, while we did have that lead, especially with a heavy third quarter, we also were scoring fast on offense. So the third quarter alone, 2 of our drives, 6 plays and touchdown. Next one, 4 plays and a touchdown. Really built that lead and when we looked like we were, going to sail off into the sunset with that victory. But because it was just a total of 10 plays across 2 drives, we really did hang our defense out to dry in that second half, and that really negatively impacted the overall result of the game. But, that's enough about this past week's game. Let's look forward to the New Orleans Saints. So, what is their bread and butter? I can tell you what it's not. They're not a strong running team right now. And you look at that, across the board for them, they're averaging about 3.4 yards per carry. And they've, 1 week they played the Tennessee Titans, which is a really good run defense. I believe they're second by DVOA and they're like 10th by PFF as a run defending team. But they did also play the Carolina Panthers, which they produced a little bit better on the ground from, but most of that production came from Taysom Hill, who is their leading rusher on the season so far with 79 yards, which is 10 more yards than they had in that first game against the Titans. So not exactly a strong run team, and they're coming into week 3 with us without Alvin Kamara, who's still suspended, and then likely without Jamal Williams, who went out with an injury on Monday night. And they're coming off, again, a short week, coming off a Monday night game, coming into Lambeau Field. So let me ask you this. If Joe Barry's defense makes this team look like a good run defense, how are you going to feel? Let me know in the comments below where your head's at in that kind of thing. Are you coming for his job? Do we make a swap mid-season on that? Or are you going to give him a little bit more forgiveness? I think the jury's still out there. I don't know what the alternative is exactly at this moment for who they would promote from within to take that job if they did, or if they would try to bring somebody in off the street and kind of fill that role. But, just let me know what you think. On the passing side of things on their offense, Derek Carr going into his 3rd game as a Saint, kind of middling passer overall, but he hasn't been getting much in the way of favors from his offensive line either. He's been sacked 4 times in each of the first 2 games. He's been under a little bit of pressure, but strangely, somewhat through PFF, he's actually grading somewhat higher when he is under pressure and he isn't kept clean. When he's got a clean pocket, he's thrown 2 interceptions, and he's had a little bit of a lower rating overall there. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but they haven't been giving him a lot of time to deliver back there. In particular, their left tackle has been struggling, really both sides of pass protection and run blocking, and he's given up 10 pressures, 6 hurries, 1 hit, and then 3 sacks himself alone. They've also given up some interior defensive pressure as well, so I think that's a spot where we could see some more twists and stunts along our defensive line, kind of what we saw a bit more of in week 1, to probably take advantage of some of the weak spots on that offensive line. But if he is able to stand back there and deliver, he does have 3 pretty damn good receivers out there in Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Rashid Shaheen, who is just a burner and can beat you deep, which we all know Derek Carr likes to deliver the ball deep. So far this year, he's hit on about 50% of his deep throws, and I want to say he's had like 10 deep targets, maybe a little bit more than that. So he's looking to make that big shot, which is actually how they ended up winning that game on Monday night, is really kind of getting a deep shot that kind of took the top off the defense and kind of secured that win for them over the Panthers. So they are coming in 2-0. We are 1-1. Not that records mean a whole lot at this stage in the game, but a big area where they've had success has been that defense. Their defense is outstanding. And while they did take a little bit of a shot on that defense with the loss of Marcus May to a 3-game suspension, they're still a pretty stout unit. 2 guys along their defensive front, in Cam Jordan and Curtis Granderson, are within the top 5 for PFF for pressure rate this season. And then their coverage unit, Marshawn Lattimore is an outstanding corner still. And, we might see us try to attack that deep middle field area a bit more with the absence of May back there at safety. They will have a rookie that's going to be coming in to fill that role. So I expect early and potentially often that we're going to go after that position and kind of see, can we make some significant gains and capitalize on that loss there? But top to bottom on that defense, they're a stout unit. They're carried by that unit heavily so far this season. But that offense does have potential to step up, at least, if they don't get one-dimensional. That defensive unit, again, they're ranked like 4th by DVOA, and it's going to be, highly likely that this ends up being a bit more of a defensive battle, especially as, our defensive front can be disruptive if they return to that kind of week 1 kind of mindset and take a little bit of a different approach than we did this past week, get some more pressure on the quarterback. We might be able to force Derek Carr into some, difficult throws and maybe capitalize on some of that. And on the like side, that defense with Tyrann Mathieu back there at safety still, he's going to be playing some games with Jordan Love, and we'll see, is our offense able to really go toe-to-toe with this top-end defense? I think it's going to come down really, really to the wire on this one. I think we're going to look at like a 20-19 game here. It's going to be very close, but I think the key is going to be attacking that interior of that offensive line with some stunts and kind of getting some more pressure on their left tackle. And then on offense, seeing how well can Jordan Love attack that defense and really avoid some of the pressure that they're going to bring at him, and then try to get some more ball control out there. Take advantage of the clock. Really get back in the positive side of the time of possession game, because that was a huge detriment to the Packers in week 2. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that out at Lambeau Field this week. The crowd should be wild, and I know the Packers themselves are fired up to get back out there on their own home turf, get some good home cooking, and get out there and get themselves a win.